Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday, the 18th of September. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And what a big weekend for Gary Peer and Associates
Sure
out there in the real estate market, where Gary, we smashed it out of the park yet again with our auction results. And that's a baseball term actually, Gary. We had an industry clearance across Melbourne at just around 60%. And Gary Peer and Associates, I'm proud to say, sold 10 out of 12 with, I think that gives us 83% clearance rate.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that.
So you should be, so you ought to be. A huge weekend out there, lots of sales, some good competition, Phil, and right across, I think we represented 8 suburbs on the weekend, so really very exciting. And a number of those properties were reviewed last week on GPTV. One of those, Philip, was on Saturday in the morning, and that was in Orong Road. Prices undisclosed. I did mention last week on GPTV that lovely villa, one of I think 6, was looking like it's going to be around about $1 million.
And sold it around about $1 million.
Well, it's undisclosed, but yeah,
okay.
It was around that figure. After that, Philip, we had a couple of others. We had that one in the Paran primary school, which didn't sell. So that's someone's opportunity. Past that at 480, I think that's a great opportunity for someone. I feel really nice, 2-bedroom, like townhouse style apartment. And you were off into Scott Street, and that didn't sell either.
No, so those were our 2 unsold ones for the weekend. So we'll gloss over those very quickly.
It's like the GPTV hex, isn't it? Talking about those, but no, they didn't sell unfortunately. But Jupiter Street, tell us about that. I know the price is undisclosed. I'm going to say that in advance because he's got loose lips sometimes. Undisclosed.
That was on Sunday morning here at 11:30, and I've got to tell you that town residence sets a new standard in Caulfield South, if not even Caulfield North town residences. And I'd like to congratulate the builder and developer for really producing a product of absolutely tremendous quality. And we had a crowd there, Gary, in excess of 100 people.
Wow.
And we had a very competitive auction, passed it in, negotiated for significantly more after the auction, which is often the case. But I think the result sets a new benchmark result for Caulfield South.
One would like to boast about but can't. So there you go. Buddy Franklin's got a new neighbour, Phil, is that true?
Yes, Gary, and on Sunday in Hodder Street, once again we've let the cat out of the bag where Buddy lives. We won't say exactly where he lives, but as I was inside negotiating after the auction and a successful competitive auction pass in negotiation and a further increase, Darren came running in to say Buddy has arrived. So I have to tell you, standing beside Buddy makes one feel fairly small. It's fairly small
little,
and fairly little. He is a big boy.
Aren't they going along well, Phil? And they may well be the one that wins the grand final and gives somebody that iPad from our GPTV competition. We've got some new properties to review, including the one that we're sitting in right at the moment, Phil. This is a fantastic apartment. I think it's probably the first apartment we've done GPTV from, but why not?
This is a great development, Gary, and for those local residents in Caulfield South, they'd be well aware of this building, but this is a building that has been developed on the corner of Buran Road and a fabulous Caulfield South street called Karawina. And this is a boutique development of apartments and some shops where a cafe, I believe, is going to be opening on the corner. This to me represents what inner suburban development should be about.
Appropriate development.
Well, this is very appropriate because there were some really old daggy shops on this site with some really bad backyards to them. Been replaced by a really beautiful looking building that in a year or so, when everybody's moved in and the shops are all trading, I think this is a really welcome addition to the Caulfield South landscape.
Now there's 16 apartments here. Glenn Brick has been a very busy young man on this development because he's sold all the others and there's only 2 left. The block is 16. It doesn't feel like a big block at all. It feels like a kind of a boutique block, but there's only 2 left. There's this one that we're in at the moment.
And this is a 2-bedroom ground floor apartment. It's completely gorgeous throughout.
It's gorgeous.
But one of its best features, Gary, is it's got this wonderful terrace that overlooks that fantastic park in Karawina. So you couldn't really get a better apartment.
Couldn't get it, a better one. There's just this one. There's also one left upstairs, and we're going to be auctioning this one on as a twilight auction.
Twilight,
yes, we're going to be doing it at 6 o'clock in a very romantic 6 p.m. time. That twilight time.
Twilight auction. Aren't we cutting edge agents, Gary? Always liking to do something different.
Huge.
Leading the marketplace.
On Thursday, October the 11th at 6 p.m. We're going to be auctioning these last two. Pick of the bunch.
I think, Gary, we should put on some champagne on that evening. So I'd welcome everybody to come to this auction, to the Twilight auction, and champagne will be on ice and being served by some lovely waiters and waitresses that Gary Peer and Associates will provide. So we look forward to seeing you here.
I don't know how we're going to set that up, but he seems to have got
I've
it sorted.
said it, we'll do it.
Sounds like it. Let's talk about what's happening this weekend, Phil. We've been all over Melbourne. We've got some busy ones this weekend. We've even got one in Brunswick this weekend that's going really well in Ryan Street. But let's talk and focus a little bit about some that are closer to home. So this weekend, Philip, we've got 6 different suburbs represented all over the place.
And no wonder I'm building up so many kilometres on my car,
That's
Gary.
very good. Well, luckily it's all tax deductible, isn't it?
It's a depreciating asset, and I would also say to all the viewers, don't put your money into expensive cars. They're depreciating assets.
Yes.
Put your money into houses and apartments and land, which are appreciating assets. A little bit of an accounting lesson there,
And it's
Gary.
hard to smash a house, isn't it? But it's easier to smash a car, Philip. Saturday, 10:30 a.m, just up the road from where we are now, 254 Bamber Road, also opposite of Park Phillip, opposite Princess Park.
This is a ripper of a block of land with an
Great
old
block.
period house on it.
Old house, sort of in that 750 to 8 range, maybe a bit more, maybe around there. But that one is going up this weekend. Glenn Brick has been involved with that one, and I think that's going to go pretty well.
Build
Phil.
something on that, Gary,
Yep.
subject
You
to
could
council
renovate it.
approval,
Maybe
of
you could
course.
renovate it, yeah.
And you can get some fantastic views over the wonderful Princess Park.
You can, and Philip, we're going to be doing the property in Maud Street, Ormond at 12:30. You're going to be there, and I talk about it as if everybody knows, but they don't. So let's talk a little bit about this one. We've sold this once before.
We have,
a few years
Gary,
ago,
and it went well last time.
It was a ripper, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it is in Maud Street, Ormond, a beautiful home in a great location, a very lovely modern property, a fantastic pool, great garden
gorgeous,
setting,
gorgeous.
all facing north, if I remember correctly.
You do
Phil.
remember correctly, Gary, and in a wonderful, wonderful part of McKinnon.
Absolutely.
Ormond McKinnon.
Eileen Avenue. We talked a bit about this one on GPTV.
Well, we actually were there last week at GPTV.
That one comes up on Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Are you going to be ready and up and about to do that?
I'll be raring to go, Gary. I'm going to have an early night Saturday night and my usual 4 espressos before my first auction. So
Yes.
I'll be pumped. My caffeine levels will be high.
Very good. We've got on Sunday afternoon another property that's a very interesting one. The first time to be reviewed on GPTV, and that is in Wilkes Street in Corporate North.
This is one of the most spectacular properties I've ever seen, and if anybody wants to see just the most incredible home, whether you're interested in buying real estate or not, come and have a look at Wilkes, because Wilkes on the corner of Alma Road, this is a stunning builder's own residence. And I've got
It's a new house?
Well, it's only a couple of years old,
Yeah.
and the owners of this property have created the most incredible lifestyle, just the most incredible home.
Congratulations to the owners on such a beautiful, stylish home. A big weekend starting this weekend. I happened to have a little look through the stats and seeing what we've got moving. We've got 21 auctions starting this weekend, so that's a very busy weekend.
Lots of new
coming
stock in
up
the paper and on the
October.
internet.
Yeah, lots of stuff coming through. So that's exciting, great news. Getting right into the heart of spring now, and GPTV, and we're watching what's going on there. And there's lots happening out there, and there's some great results and good clearances and good offerings. So get busy, get ready, get excited, Phil.
And we should send a bit of a cheerio to all those Collingwood supporters out there that that have survived another week. Interesting, the football calendar, the football is looking really interesting.
And as
now.
for those West Australians, Phil, it's all over, isn't it? Frio's out,
It is.
West
You know
Coast
what?
is
But
out.
they can go back home really to Western Australia and understand that they do have most of Australia's mineral wealth. So
exactly
they didn't get the cup.
But they got the beaches.
They didn't get the flag.
They got the beaches. They got the wealth. What more?
Margaret River as well, Gary. In fact, maybe we should do GPTV from Margaret River. And if the Premier of Western Australia is currently watching GPTV, we would invite you invite us over to do a special GPTV tour of Perth and Western Australia.
We'll even bring the GP mic and interview him. Looking forward to seeing you all next week on GPTV. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fantastic week.
Cheers.